Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I have missed you all so much. I'm sorry it's been such a long time. Things have been a little bit busy with my family. With the baby, the new baby, he just got home from the hospital. He is doing pretty well. He's just adjusting, as is my daughter and our fiance. And so is the 1-year-old. He is not happy about not being a baby anymore, but he'll adjust. And the 7-year-old is here with us. So he goes to my other daughter's for a few days a week, and then home, and then back here, and my head hurts. Anyway, he did his first little diamond painting yesterday. It was a little dinosaur sticker, and he is just so excited to show his mom. It's crazy. Gotta love him. Okay, so this is what I'm doing this morning, because it is about 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, and everybody in the house is asleep, except, of course, me. Yeah, because I forgot to take my medicine right before bed. Otherwise, I'd still be sleeping. But I plan to go back to sleep after this. So this I got from Amazon. This is not from one of the companies that I have worked with. This is titled Bear, but the little tipped ears right here, I can tell you, that's not a bear. That's an Esky baby. At least in our family. That's a baby snowflake right there. My daughter, Sarah, wants one as well, and she doesn't stitch, so I'm going to try to get a second one. God help me financially. I can't do it, but I'm going to try. It's not expensive. It's just summertime, air conditioning bills, Arizona. Yeah, there's your explanation. So hopefully it will look this pretty, if not prettier when I get done. I am thinking about taking some of my thread and doing something in the background, because that just plain white makes me go, ugh, I don't know if I like that. So we'll see. Plus, it's a matter of how much time do I actually have in my life. So if I sound a little too quiet, I am super sorry. If you're shaking, I have you in a very, very, very strange position. Also, I apologize for my nails. They desperately need to get done, but I haven't had time to do them or to do my hair. So, because I am going to get daring and try something really useful and a little crazy one time. One time. And you can see from my skin on my arm, I'm all dried out from our summer. Which is crazy because it's humid here right now for, well, now it's July 1st, but yeah, the end of June was like 30 and 50% humidity. I was going, when did we step into August humidity in June? But I thought I would do a cross-stitch whip and chat with you, which on my other channel would be a floss tube, and we are not focusing what is going on. Gotta move slowly out. Sorry, I'm trying a new setting. There we go. Because I would really, really, really like for you all to be able to see this a little better without me, taking 2 hours to upload it to YouTube. And if I do that in 1080p, that's what's going to happen. Alright, so you can see I have a lot done. It doesn't look like it with the printed background, but there is quite a bit done. The only thing with this one that I did notice, and I'm not doing any of the others in hand at this point, using what's called the sewing method, but I like to stitch in hand when I have a nice soft piece of fabric. And this is not really canvas. This is Aida fabric, and I got this one. It was quite pliable and soft, so I decided to work on it in hand. But I noticed that quickly these symbols became smushy, and my hands are very, very, very dry. I don't put anything on them before I stitch. Sorry, I'm pulling puppy hairs out of the stitching. So I don't understand if it was just blurry to start with, or, if my hands and all the movement blurred it. Luckily, these come with a pattern, and I will be referencing the pattern for that area. It only seems to be this in the nose that went a little crazy, and I just need to check to see if it's all the same symbol, or if what I think is true is some of the outlying ones here and there are confettied with a separate symbol. So what I'm doing at the moment is trying to fill in the remainder of the ground beneath her. So the stitches are, because I'm doing sewing method, they're not laying as flat as they normally would, because normally, well, my stitches are pretty good, but in hand they're going to set a little differently. I think I need glasses for this morning. Not enough sleep. Oh, so I don't know that this will be a long video. There's not an awful lot going on for me to talk to you about, but I just wanted to touch base with you. I also want to try and get a diamond painting whip and chat up for you, or at least filmed so it can go up this week. I'm so sorry about the lack of videos. I know quite a few people unsubscribed because of it, and I feel bad. I do. Sorry, I of course have my coffee. That's kind of the norm for me anyway. But I feel bad about it, but I also know that you have to live your real life first. So, Ladybug moved and looked at me like I've lost my mind, which maybe I have, because it is so early. Now, what is that symbol next to it? I am not certain. Like I said, some of them are blurring together, and it might just be, you know, after you stitch for a few hours, the natural oils in your hands are going to come back up. So, it happens. Right now, I'm just kind of trying to figure out where I'm at. Plus, I'm sitting at the strangest angle for stitching. Angel? Yeah, well, know where my mind is. It's on the babies, of course. It's always on the babies, the grandbabies, or the kids. One of the three. My nails come in very handy for this method, let me tell you. They are extremely useful for it. But usually this is quite a bit faster. I'm just slowing down what I'm doing so that you all have any opportunity to see. I am so sorry if there is shadow from my hand moving. I'm sure that there is. This is pretty much the best lighting I could give you at this time of the morning, and still be able to see where I'm at. Let's see, I try to stitch hairs into it. I think I've stitched some of my own hairs into it. Now, the easy thing to do would be to get one of those, you can go to the dollar store and get one of those sweater shavers that are for removing the little pills on your sweater. And what pills are, let me show you, because I need to do this one anyway. These are pills. These little bumps that come after a while from the fuzz, yeah, those are pills. And there's this little tiny shaving thing that just pulls them off. Super nice, easy. And you can use that to get pet hair or your hair out of your stitching. We all shed about 100 hairs a day, so there you go. You would think we would be bald, but thankfully it doesn't work quite like that. We just, hair breaks off, we're constantly making new hair, all that good stuff. So, I am so busy with my little grandson. Well, now he's the big grandson. He's so excited about his new baby brother, and to go and see his little brother, who was his baby brother, until last month. Now it's not the baby brother, he's the little brother. So, which, let me tell you, CJ is none too excited for. It's funny. He's so sweet. He gets all happy when grandmom's on the phone, but right now he could care absolutely less about me. He is not pleased with the invasion. And the baby has had such a hard time. He spent a few weeks in the neonatal ICU and then moved down to continued care, I think they call it, and then they moved him over to pediatric ICU. So then suddenly they let my daughter know that his leg that broke during the birth was doing strangely so much better than they had expected. Stem cells are so awesome. Let me see what that is. Okay. So they were able to take him home. And my daughter and her fiance are just so happy because they got him home. And yet, they're worried, did they allow him to come home too soon? I don't think they realize that when the hospital decides to discharge a patient, you can't say no. You can, but it's going to be pretty useless. And in all honesty, I think that the best thing for the baby at this point was to go home. Because we heal better when we're in our own environment. Even though he had never come to see that environment on the outside, he knows the environment because they hear so much in the womb. It's insane. It's kind of cool, but it's a little nutty. So, yeah. He's so pretty, too. He is such a beautiful baby. Blonde hair, big blue eyes. Let's hope they stay blue. My older grandchild has hazel eyes. And CJ has blue eyes. And I have blue eyes. My whole family, except for my son, are blue-eyed. He is green-eyed. So, I guess both generations get that one kid with the unusual eye color. But he's blonde-haired, blue-eyed. He looks like the most perfect baby you could imagine. I don't think anybody would have realized that he came just slightly prematurely and definitely came into this world in just such a rough way. We really were. For the first week and a half, 2 weeks, we were very uncertain as to whether or not he was going to make it. As were the doctors and nurses. He could not breathe on his own, or he couldn't eat from a bottle. He obviously can't breastfeed at this point, because what has happened is when all of this happened, he lost oxygen and has some hypoxic brain damage in the motor function center of his brain. So this is going to be a hard road for my daughter, and a long one, possibly. We're hoping only a year, but we just don't know. We don't know the extent. We won't know until he starts to hit expected milestones, or miss them, God forbid. So, lots of prayers for little JD, please. He's going to need them very, very much, and prayers for my daughter and Chris that they don't become, too emotionally overwhelmed, and they manage to just hang on and realize that they've got a whole family for support on our side and a whole family on his side that are also incredibly supportive. So, this is a lucky thing that a lot of these young people they don't have, Now, Chris is in his 30s, but, Sarah's in her 20s, so it's a situation where, families sometimes just aren't able to help out a lot, and we can't financially, but we're able to help out with the kids, and I think that brings more relief than we could really have imagined being able to do. And I'm glad that we can, and his family is able to help out a little bit financially, and with CJ, so, because they're closer. Sadly, my 1-year-old little fatso goes to the other half of the family more often, but, we just have to be understanding and work through it. I have put in my complaints and requests that I wish to see my fatso. Although I video chat him nearly every day. He's so cute. He starts yelling at his mom, "Ma, Ma." And that's what he calls me, his Ma. So, which in my culture is not an unusual title, and it's actually a title of endearment, so I'm good. If he calls me Ma forever, I'm gonna be like, dude, that's what you're supposed to call your mother, not your grandmother. Hello. Yeah, he's such a sweet baby. Sweet baby. He's still a baby. He's only 1. So for me, he's still a baby. He's just about as cute as can be, though, and there's some red highlights in his hair, and I'm like, ha, ha, ha. I got one of them with a little red hair in there. And my daughter's like, no, Andy's a Gemini. That's not fair, Mom. Well, the new baby's a Gemini. I'm sorry. I think CJ is a Taurus, if I remember correctly. He's born in May 4th. So, there's a temperament. And that red hair with some Sicilian and Irish, and his father's Italian, and I think it's Scots-Irish, based on the last name. So, yeah. Whew, when he gets mad, he is a handful. And so is the new one. Ooh, goodness. His lungs are good, thank goodness. Obviously, his lungs are very good now, because when he screams, he dies. And he does it very, very well. Excuse my messy back here. That will all get covered in stitches. So I'm okay with it. I didn't feel like doing any more pin stitches than I'm already doing. So, I learned from my friend Natalia, sorry, the I has particular enunciation. She's been stitching as long as I have, I think, or pretty close to it. And she has a different way of threading a needle that actually allows me to utilize more of the thread. So I have come to very much like that. But it requires a pin stitch. Now, she does it with basically a half pin stitch. I do it with the full one because, well, I don't know if it's that I complicate things for myself or if it's just that I'm utterly panicked by the idea of my work coming apart. But getting the thread off of the eye of the needle is not the easiest thing. Now, I've tried pliers, I've tried everything else, and what I've found is this. Now, let me see if I can bring this close enough and still have it visible. It's blurry. Right, there is a little loop there. So I'll cut the thread off, and I try to catch a piece of that loop, and I cut it off right at the eye of the needle, very carefully. Now that one didn't go so well. Let's get it off there. And then I just kind of fiddle with it for a second, and it comes right off. And it's great. You save so much thread. It's amazing. I love it. Natalia, thank you so, so much. And her channel is Lovecraft Forever. She is much bigger channel than I am, and still so absolutely sweet and real and genuine. Oh my goodness. If you are not watching her channel, please do. She does many types of crafts, but does a lot of diamond painting stuff, introduces us to new companies, and she's just an amazingly wonderful lady. And her family is just as sweet as can be. They are Canadian and very, very loving. And by the way, happy Canada Day to my Canadian viewers. I hope that you are all enjoying yourselves, maybe having some barbecues like we do on 4th of July in the United States. Now, I found it funny. I recently found out that this younger generation does not know, a lot of them do not know that the 4th of July is not actually titled the 4th of July. The name of it is Independence Day. And I keep going, hello? We all just call it the 4th of July. And they started up the fireworks last night. Oh, my Lord. My poor little ladybug. I wish they would just do it on the day it's supposed to be and not cause my baby to have seizures. So, when my boys go this morning to pick up the things that we need, because, of course, today is when my son gets paid by the Veterans Administration, I'm going to ask them to get her some more CBD oil or CBD treats. We need to do something to keep her from seizing. And I have found that the amazing Thunder shirt that Lisa Swan got her 2 years ago, combined with CBD oil, she does great that way. I never would have thought to give CBD to a dog, but they make it specially for animals, and I really prefer that formula. However, at the moment, it's out of reach financially. So, we found that our local smoke shop is apparently owned by a dog lover. So, he carries CBD dog treats. And the dosage is, of course, based on their size. And he's just a very, very lovely gentleman. So, I'm sure that that's where Nico will pick some up for her so that she will get through this next 2 weeks. Because, of course, it's going to be a long couple of weeks here. My sweet boy Dusty is back from Tennessee. He arrived here day before yesterday, I believe. Might have been the day before that. I'm not sure. My brain is fried at the moment. I think it was late Monday. Anyway, he is the gentleman who did my tattoos of my babies and the rose with my dad in it, and the water around it is just pink. So anyway, he's home and from Tennessee and needs to find a new place to live. So he's here for a short period of time, just kind of camping out on the couch because we don't have any more bedrooms, guys. We're out of bedrooms. And I have absolutely zero desire to move to a larger house. Because unless my bedroom would be bigger. And I would have a non-dirt yard. Actually grass. Well, yeah. Anyway. I love our landlord. We like the area we live in. Other than, just you always have those few neighbors that are a pain in the neck. But overall, we really do like where we're at. And that is always a good thing. That's always a good thing. Now, I have you all on the nightscape setting of my camera because it's not quite daytime yet. So I have grabbed my threads because, of course, I need a new thread. Now, something I'm going to show you guys. What I've done is I have put a mark on the threads that I'm done with. The reason I don't just take them off is because they are DMC coded. So I can utilize them if I ever need backup for a project. And there you go. Now, Joy Sunday is pretty generous with the leftovers. Some of them I have more than, a full 6 thread strand. And others, like this one, I have about half of one 6 thread strand left. I don't know why that is. I would have expected a little more consistency, but as long as you get through it and you have something left over, it's just like diamond painting. Just don't run out of thread. And if you do, run up to Michael's or Joann's or your local stitching store, preferably if you have an independently owned cross-stitch store, and grab up what you need. You might even be able to order them directly from DMC. The ones that are on Amazon are not DMC threads that I can find. So, and these may not be as well, but they look like DMC and they feel like DMC. So, I'm kind of, I know I have a few threads here left, but then I have to go confetti. So I will hold off on that and pick this little bit of filling up, which is number 8. So I'm just going to stitch with you a little bit longer, but I want to show you Natalia's technique for threading because it is actually really, really helpful. So I'm running my fingers through the lengths of thread so that they separate. Alright, let's see. Grab my needle. Now, this is how I pull a thread out when they are on cards like this. And I want to show you that as well. My goodness. You guys went collapsing on me. What happened? I don't know. I am so sorry. So what I do, that's actually okay for the moment because you need a close-up, is I use my needle, okay? And I have a strand started here already. Ouch. I believe. Don't I? It's not the inner one. Okay. Anyway. I believe I started. Yes, I did. Alright, so I separate off one strand because this is a 14 count. So you need 2 threads. But because these are approximately 1 meter long, so a little over 3 yards. Or a little over a yard. Sorry, 3 feet. And you can see I hook it on the needle and I just pull up. Okay, now these threads are going to gather up. Hopefully this will work when it's sitting down like this. But you can see it's gathering those threads up. And it pulls the thread out perfectly. No knotting. And no knotting down here. You just take and pull them down afterward. It is so much easier. Oof, I caught you on the thread. I am so sorry. It's so much easier that way when you don't have a camera in the middle than to try and separate the strands out any other method. And that's if you do your threads on a card. Otherwise, at some point when I'm working on one of my heids, I will show you the other method I use to separate them out. It's actually almost as easy. Okay. So what I've done is I've gathered my ends together, meeting up. Now I found I can thread from this way and pull it through, or I can do this and save myself just a littlest bit of time. Alright, need my needle. And because I am old and about half blind, at least I feel like it, trusty needle threader. My very sweet friend Jill. I lost the one that came with one of my canvases, and it was the only one like this that I had, and this one works the best for me out of all of them. It is a double-sided one, but, you know, you don't need this big old eye for this needle. For like a size 22 or below, you might. So this end works perfectly, and I actually have this end bent up a little bit so I can grab it. She sent me 100 of these from Amazon, and they are so helpful. Now, the reason I'm just picking my needle up like this is because I have it faced to where the end that the thread, the side of the eye of the needle that the thread will go through properly and easily and not tear up the thread is out here where the hook is, so that the thread goes in without damaging it. So I'm going to hang on to my thread where the loop is, okay? The loop is right there. And I'm going to pull that through. Just gently wiggle. Okay, there you go. And now, here's Natalia's thing. You take and put the needle back through that loop, okay? And then pull, and it tightens on to the needle. It actually makes it to where you can't drop your needle, and this is a great part, you can get all the way down to about here before you need to cut it. So you save quite a bit of thread versus other methods. The standard method. This will only work if you have an even number of threads. 2 or 4. If you're doing 6, you need a much bigger needle. Now, I am using a thread conditioner for this, and I absolutely hate this product. But the only thread heaven that I can find, because the company went out of business, is $25 for one little container. That stuff used to cost $6. But I'm using this horrible Thread Magic. Sorry to the company that makes it, but I do not like this product whatsoever. At the moment, though, it's all I've got. So the reason I use the thread conditioner is to keep the threads from tangling. It creates a static that helps keep the threads in place. I'm trying to do this where you can see it. I'm just pulling it through. So I go through one side and come out the other side that is opposite of it, and it's got lots of little slits. The container is well designed. I'll give them that. I wish Thread Magic had thought of that, but they didn't. But I still miss my Thread Magic. And then I take my nails. You could use your fingers, but I take my nails and I just kind of drag down, and it A, straightens out the thread, B, pulls off any excess, and generally a little puppy hair. Okay. Oh, the sun is has begun to come up. So, of course, I couldn't get enough sleep for that. Now I'm trying to get in close enough that I can show you the easy way to do a pin stitch. Well, in my opinion, the easy way to do a pin stitch. Where are we? I have to look at this through the camera. I'm so old. Okay, so I'm going to start up here and move up. That is my preferred method, is to move right to left or bottom to top. And I'll show you why. It is less cumbersome when you are doing your stitches if you're working in hand. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. But in hand, this is very, very helpful. So, we have a single little horizontal green line there. It makes the perfect starting point for this. So what I'm doing is going in and splitting between the Aida holes, okay? Right in the middle. And I'm securing the thread back here with my finger while I pull it up, and then I'll check to make sure that it's not going to come out the other side when I adjust. I just wiggle the needle a little bit to get that knot through. Well, slip knot. It's not even that. It's just a, slipping it over. And I am watching what's going on this side. So I pull this up to where it is just barely hidden under my finger. And then, don't get it caught in your fingernails like I do. And then go into the middle of the stitch of that square. Okay? Try not to poke yourself. I do that frequently and have to make sure I'm not bleeding on my cross stitch. For some reason, this company likes to send sharp needles instead of blunt. So if you are like me and you are really, really, really picky, did I do that wrong? I went in the wrong, it slipped. Okay, so I'm going to pull it off and do it again. Because it slipped out of its little spot. Darn it. I'm so sorry, folks. Alright, let me see if I'm in the right place. Yeah. Okay. Let me get back in here now. Sorry, I had to double check. That will happen once in a while. So you've just got to be patient. Get it where you need it. I just, for some reason, I thought I had it in the right spot, and I guess I didn't. So we're going to do this again, which is actually a good thing. Lets you all see it again, so you can tell what I'm doing. And I am just securing it like this, pulling the esky hair out of there. I think I'm cute sometimes, or at least funny. Okay, I'm trying to do this where it's not creating too much shadow, but that is just physically impossible in this position. So it's just to where you can see the edge of the thread right there, okay? And I'm holding it in place. Now, I'm going into the center, if at all physically possible, of the stitch. And again, try not to pierce your fingertip. Like I'm probably going to do right at this moment. Okay. Whew. I just go slowly, and then it's okay. So then pull your thread down. Don't pull too hard, because it will slip right through, as you saw. And we have just this, see, this teeny tiny little quarter stitch. So I'm going to come in from the opposite end of that particular square. So I'm going to come in from the top, in between the Aida holes. You can do this on even weave as well. And I know that you can do it on linen, but my eyes don't do linen. So I've come up, and now I'm going to go back down just around the point where I had gone down at the first time. And then pull it through. Oops. Tug gently, very gently. And that, my friends, is a pin stitch. You can do that starting or stopping. And it's going to create just the tiniest bit of bulk under the stitch, but you're not going to notice it. And it means that you don't have a bunch of thread bulking up under things. Now, I just chose to run threads across because there are not enough hours in my days to accomplish everything in my lifetime that I would like to. So, there's that for you. And then I just stitch that stitch like so. I'm going to complete the stitch instead of pulling up into the next one, just so you all can see how that looks compared to these stitches that don't have a pin stitch under them. So when I get through that, I kind of tug a little bit so that I know it's as flat as it can possibly be. And there you are. There's your pin stitch right there. There's your regular stitches. It is a tiny bit poofier, but not a noticeable amount. Now, the reason that I like to use this method, okay, I'm trying to see if that's a square or a plus sign next to it. It's a plus sign. Okay. Is because, of course, I don't want to stitch in the wrong place. So, now, what I do here is I come in, making my bottom leg of the stitch going left to right. Okay, corner to corner, left to right. Now, I can go the opposite direction just fine, but you want it to lean to the right on the bottom. That's the proper way to do it. So then, you need the top leg of it to go the opposite way. Alright, it needs to be heading this way. Now, there are people who do it backwards from that. That's fine. As long as every stitch is done the same way, it will look fine. But what I do is I go into that top corner. Okay, let me see if I can keep it focused. And then, in hand, I'm coming up in the upper left corner. Alright, now I'm going to pull through. Hope I don't smack the camera. Okay, which the thread did for me. Sorry. And then I go down in the lower right corner. That's going to give me the thread in the right position. Then, for the next stitch, I can just go from where I've gone down in the lower right. Alright, to complete that stitch, I can come up in the upper right, and it starts me into the next stitch. And by working bottom to top or right to left, that lets you work your needle like this, instead of having to try and do all this and angles and crazy things. It just seems to work better for me, and it's something you might want to try. And when I'm not explaining it, oof, I'm much faster and more efficient at it. Beware of threads getting twisted. It does not matter if you're stitching in hand, in a frame, or in a hoop, or in a, oh my goodness, Q-snap. Threads tangle. It's just the nature of them. So, they will twist. Now, how you stitch will determine if they go right or left. Mine go wherever they want to. So, you know, you just want to beware and untwist them occasionally, because that way you won't have any severe issues. Now, when I get into this type of situation, I just kind of go like that. Or, in this case, it just twists it in a different direction, but it's easier with my arthritis, because my hands and my wrists get so sore. Did I miss that? I did. Oof, I did miss it. Missed it, miss it. So we're just going to come back for picking that up as if we were doing that intentionally, and it will be 2 half stitches, and then we stitch those, close them. So neither of these stitches is closed, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick them up, like, get my needle in there if I can. Like so. I'm not able to see it well at this angle, so that's why I'm having a complicated, slow mess of a time. Plus, I'm trying to show you, if you wish to stitch in hand, say you're, you know, at a game, and you can't bring out a frame, and a hoop is cumbersome, and then you can't really see what's going on because you're trying to go up and down, traditional stitching. There's nothing wrong with that. I stitch traditionally all the time. But I stitch two-handed, so that kind of makes hoops and Q-snap frames a little more complicated for me. So then I end up pulling them out of there and doing them by hand, because it's just so much faster normally. I just sit back on my pillows, play something on TV that I can just listen to and don't need to watch, you know, such as my true crime stuff and the court cases that I had been watching. And when Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell go to trial, I will be watching those and trying to keep you a little bit updated. So, for those of you who are interested. But I will let you know in the title if that's what it is, because obviously that's not the best subject around children. And although this is not a channel for children, you know, even my grandson hears things I'm doing, so I get it. I'm not big on cussing and all of that, so I try to keep my channel somewhat family friendly. I'm going to tug that a little bit just because I didn't like how loose that top stitch was. Yes, I'm very, very, very finicky about my diamond painting, my stitching. I have to make sure all the diamonds are straight. I have to make sure all the stitches are consistent tension. It's just me. That's just how I work. So then I can, if I wanted to, I could go up and back, but I'm not doing that in this case because it doesn't make sense for me to do that with this thread. There's enough of this symbol going up that it will use up this thread. Which, not doing that kind of slows me down a little bit, but not much. Anyway, I really hope that you all are having or going to have a wonderful Thursday. I have no idea what mine is going to consist of because there is a 7-year-old in the house and he can't stay on one subject long enough with all the adults in the house at the moment. It was so quiet here for a little while. It was great. Now, no. There's always loud TVs going and music, and this is the only time of day that it is peaceful. And that is getting ready to end because I'm sure that my sweet little grandson will be up soon and coming in to find out what I am doing. And can he have my tablet? And can he do this? And can he do Oh my goodness. And yes, I am very, very careful. When he comes over, I turn on child safety limits on my tablet because I just don't want any chance of him seeing more than the world is already showing him as far as negativity. Kids don't need that. Like I've always said, this world is hard enough. Let's not make it more difficult. So that is what I'm going to be doing today, is trying to work on this. I actually have other stitching I need to be doing, but without a lot of sleep, I probably should not be sitting up a whole lot. I will, if I feel well enough, try to film a diamond painting whip and chat today. Otherwise, I will try to film that tomorrow for you. It all depends on how this works with all the crazies in the house. God love them, they're wonderful. And Bonnie came down to visit too, my childhood friend, so maybe that will save my oldest child needing to take me to the doctors. I don't really feel like taking the non-emergency medical transport stuff, so, but my daughter would be bringing her boyfriend and his daughter, and they are just so loud when they talk. It's nutty to me for anyone to make that much noise. What did I do? I think I did something backwards. Well, anyway, so I can go fix that. I will let you all go. We are already at 48 minutes, so I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful day. My thoughts and prayers are with all of you as always. And I will be putting out as many videos as I can over the summer. But please be patient with me. I do have a 7-year-old between 4 and 5 days a week. So I stay busy. God bless you all. My thoughts and prayers are with you. And I will see you again next time. Bye.